Welcome to CBN4's Primetime News Package for today. I am your presenter, Alien Christopher. Here's a look at the top stories. Dominicans urged to incorporate tradition with modern-day creativity. Alcohol? Think again. Dominica observes Drug Awareness Month. And one individual says Carnival is needed now more than ever. Stay tuned for these and other stories right after. First up, Father Franklin Coffey says that he is concerned that Dominica is not ready to address the issue of river management to ensure that the devastation caused by Hurricane Maria does not reoccur. Father Coffey laments that recently he asked an important question on a radio program related to the impacts on the river in the agricultural sector and was not given a proper response.
Only last week, discussion on the radio program, very interesting discussion on agriculture, and he had a former agriculture manager or director and the present acting one. And I was concerned because very little mention was made. The management of the river was just, of water was just mentioned in passing. So I called and I asked what was the impact of the rivers on the agricultural sector. And to my dismay, the response was, they continue the program. Then after Ivona asked again, what about the rivers? And the response was, the caller is only interested in aesthetics and tourism. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. To add insult to the injury, at the end of the program, it was said again how disappointed they were that nobody called their program. Okay, tourism, I do believe, is everybody's business. And I believe one of the local papers this weekend are going to be interviewing people on the street asking us, are we ready? If somebody is calling about a concern about our rivers and the impact of the rivers on the agricultural sector, and we dismiss it and say no person is only interested in beauty and tourism, I think we're in serious trouble. We are not ready for the...
Coffey admits that tourism is everybody's business. However, he believes that river management is everybody's business as well. Coffey believes the issue of river management should be carefully considered. He mentioned that recovery is achievable if Dominica implements the correct measures that provides a solution to river management.
A study which was done on the watershed, Wozo River watershed by Marie-José de EPIC, I think they call the organization, and the study is available. And all the answers, all the questions you're asking can be found in that document. And this was done for the government. It cost, I believe, about $50,000. This was done in 2010, and this is lying on a shelf. It came to the public again when we had a training. I brought a lady down from Trinidad, and she's spearheading the Adopt the River program in Trinidad, and she was anxious to come to Dominica to introduce the program. Of course, it was difficult. I'm in Trinidad, and the gentleman in forestry, who is supposed to be responsible for the rivers in Dominica, and Dawasco, who is also responsible for, they were not able to, I'm in Trinidad, and they're informing me that they were having problem to meet each other to come together for that workshop which was being offered. So the study of Marie-José Edward was brought to the front, and we had it as part of our training workshop. So the document is there, the information is there in that watershed program prepared for the government of Dominica, very costly program in 2010. We would like, and I hope that people will again visit that document. The answers to the questions I think you would want to ask me are in that document. Extensive research, extensive studies by experts, geologists, just name it. You know, I think we do have a document that can help us, you know, as we talk of resilience and what have you.
Coffee states that to address the issue of managing our rivers, experts should be brought into Dominica. According to Coffee, after the passage of Hurricane Maria, Dominica was left relying on countries who have polluted water sources. That, he believes, is disappointing considering that Dominica boasts an abundance of 365 rivers.
Need to bring in the experts. As I said, I brought one down from Trinidad, and we had a very, very powerful and very informative 2 days program in the person of Dr. Shadar, who is well trained and is available. She also brought somebody who studied the river. So we have, again, UWI, University of the West Indies, have done a great deal of research. The documents are available. The work is available in Trinidad. In fact, in Trinidad, we found out that 65% through the work of the Adopt a River program, 65% of the water in Trinidad are polluted. Yet during Maria, we got water from Trinidad, okay, with tons of bottles being brought into the country. And how do we manage all those bottles that have been, you know, lying and being thrown in our rivers and thrown in our drain in the island?
Father Coffee says that one measure that he does encourage is the storage of water. He says this water conservation technique is one of the ways that Dominicans can facilitate their need for water and avoid being dependent on the Wasco for their water source. And the leader of the Dominica Freedom Party, Kent Vital, has stated that one of the things he would like to see going forward in 2018 is the government of Dominica put a stop to the attempts of introducing legislation to legalize bribery. Vital noted that this kind of approach must not continue.
Then I found that the contribution I wanted to make, the environment wasn't conducive to making that kind of condition. I always felt that Dominica needed to focus on investments in tourism and investments in other areas. And I didn't find the atmosphere conducive. And those who know of what happened then, I did resign from Invest Dominica Authority. And at that time, a number of persons approached me and asked about my involvement in politics. But at that time too, I had determined in my heart that I was going to contribute. I always wanted to contribute to my country. And I had determined at that time then I would contribute in one way or the other.
The Freedom Party leader supports the decision on the Voters ID card initiative, but wants it done with a level of transparency. He also noted that proper planning is essential for the Dominica government.
I will return, but under my own terms. I will return to contribute. I went back to Barbados, went back to the Caribbean Development Bank, and I had decided at that point that I would return and make a contribution for the area of politics. The rest of it is a lot of history, but my engagement with the Dominica Freedom Party, I found a group of persons in the Dominica Freedom Party, those who had remained, to be a group of persons of high integrity, a group of very honest persons. And that's the kind of platform that I wanted. That's the kind of platform I wanted to work with to make a difference. So I started closely associating with them, and the discussion came up throughout that process of possibly taking up or offering myself to lead the party. So since that time, we have been working with persons in the party to revive the party, to get the party to a point where its activities are once again resonating throughout the country. People are once again seeing the party has been ready to take up leadership of this country. And all of this culminated in the convention when we.
Vital further stated that the Dominica Freedom Party would love to see more engagements with stakeholders by the current Dominica government. And Drug Awareness Month is here once again. As part of the efforts by the National Drug Abuse Prevention Unit to raise awareness about the harmful effects of drugs and alcohol, This year's Drug Awareness Month 2018 is being celebrated under the theme, Alcohol, Think Again.
Well, this month we are using the theme, Alcohol, Think Again. And the reason for that, the reason why we are using that theme is because after we have realized that a lot of persons and even younger persons are engaging in the use of alcohol. And as a result of that, we have developed an alcohol campaign where we can go to the different communities, go on the block, go to the health centers, talk about the ills of alcohol use and the damage it can cause to the individual, the family, and the society.
The Drug Abuse Prevention Officer listed some of the activities to mark the month-long observance.
We usually go to the health centers during the doctor's visit, where we speak about the different types of drugs and the effects on the body. Another thing that we do, we go to the different schools. We start at the preschool level. And a few years ago, we developed a preschool curriculum where we gave to most preschools that even in maths, English, language arts, and in HFLE, where you can speak about and teach the students about the different types of drugs. Another thing we do, we go to the different communities, we work with the village councils, the churches, where we address the use of alcohol. And the thing about it, what we are trying to do at the Drug Prevention Unit, which is our main goal, is to delay first use. Because the later someone starts drinking or takes their first drink of alcohol, it has been proven that they are less likely to become an alcoholic. So when you taste, somebody may taste alcohol for the first time maybe at age 30, and they may find it doesn't taste well. So they may not even want to take another drink. But for somebody who starts drinking at age 7, 8, 9, and they acquire the taste at that tender age, it is very likely that that person can become an alcoholic later on in life.
She further indicated that it is evident that there's a rise in alcohol consumption among the Dominican youths. And with hopes of building back better and ensuring that the safety and security of its students, All Saints University, which is a private medical school, is looking at constructing a brand new facility in the Warner area. Presently, the All Saints University is operating in the Roseau area, but according to Glenda Samuel, Executive Assistant to the Registrar, this is one way that the All Saints University will ensure that its students are better accommodated. CBN4's reporter Marisa Stedman visited the site where the facility is set to be constructed. Here's Marisa Stedman as she reports.
And Ali and I can remember that there was a time when Warner was considered simply agricultural area, only good for having farming and garden plots. But today Warner is considered one of the best residential communities, an area designated to build luxurious homes on the expanse of flat land that is in Warner. And this plot of land that I'm standing on, it's designated to build an all-inclusive facility, the All Saints University. We know that at the moment, All Saints is operating in the vicinity of Roseau, but in the coming years, we will see an all-inclusive state-of-the-art facility in Warner. CBN4 continues to watch as the story unfolds. Marisa Stedman, CBN4 News.
And we say thank you, Marisa, for that report. We'll be back with more news right after this break. and welcome back. After serving as a hurricane shelter and the home of many persons for some time, the principal, students and staff of the Warner Primary School are now more than happy to be back at school. Marissa Stedman reports from the community of Warner.
The passage of Hurricane Maria on September 18, 2017, numerous institutions, educational facilities have remained closed. But today, as of January the 8th, the Warner Primary School is officially reopened. The school remained closed for the duration of the first term season since the Warner School presented itself served as a shelter for persons who lost their homes in the community of Warner. And today it appears that the teachers and students are particularly happy to be back at school in Warner. CBN4 is now at the Warner Primary School, and we're about to speak to the principal of the Warner Primary School, who's about to tell us just how thrilled they are to be back at this institution. Here with me is the principal of the Warner Primary School, Erickson Bertrand. Tell us, principal, how do you feel to be back at school?
Oh, I feel very elated, very relieved after a long battle in trying to get the school back in gear. And so I feel very relieved and very elated and happy to be at school.
Tell me, why was the school closed for the duration of the first term?
The school was closed because it was a hurricane shelter, and it was quite a bit of difficulty in getting the persons relocated. So we spent almost 3 months trying to get the persons to new locations, and that took quite a bit of our time, and so we left just about a week ago, and that's why we can open today.
And how was your curriculum affected?
Very, very much, because I mean, if students have been out of school for 3 months, let us say 5 months when you think of it, because from July they were on holidays, they came back in September for 1 week, so really they were affected quite a bit. So we have quite a bit to cover, but our teachers are very resilient teachers and hard-working teachers, and we'll do our very best to see what we can move forward. And
I listened to you in the assembly. You mentioned some challenges that you all are facing, having lost all of your books. What other challenges are presented at the school? Yeah, well, we lost one classroom. We're definitely in need of a tent right now because we lost the classroom, and we have our grades K and 1 cramped up, 12 of them in a little room. That's our major challenge. Also, we have most of our curriculum materials got wet and damaged, so we have to get that replaced. But most of all, we have all our students back, and we can overcome all these challenges. And I notice a lot of the students there in their school uniforms. Tell me, how do you feel about that? Very good, because what happened, we are trying to get them initiated back into a state of normalcy. So we said, bring in your uniforms, and we know some have lost their uniforms, but as we go along, we will get back into our state of great normalcy. And is there any assistance that you're asking for at the school? Anyone who would like to donate to the school? Any contact information? Yes, we, as I said, we need of all curriculum. We lost our library, so we need of books, all curriculum materials. We need a tent. We could do well with some furniture, some cupboards. We could do well with audio, visual when we get our lights back, because we lost our printer. So anything at our school, we are already starting back from scratch one. There you have it with the principal of the Warner Primary School. Of course, like I said earlier, they seem to be pretty happy to be back at school for this season in January 2018. CBN4 News, Marissa Stedman.
And in hopes of keeping some of Dominica's traditional celebrations alive, the Cultural Division of Dominica said it's planning to assist with Carnival 2018 with the staging of the annual traditional Old Mass Festival. The annual traditional Old Mass Festival is scheduled to take place in the St. Joseph community on Sunday, February 4th.
We've been organizing this activity now for many years, and this year's theme is celebrating our cultural tradition, and that event fits right into the theme for Carnival this year.
The Chief Cultural Officer went on to say that tradition is often thought of as going backwards. In his own words, Lawrence said, "We need to think of tradition as a learning and appreciating aspects of our past and taking it along with us into the future together with all other creative expressions."
That our traditions will continue to provide a lot of color, vibrancy, and excitement to the tapestry and fabric of our lives as the society and the country as a whole develops. And of course, traditions also help to inspire our contemporary expressions. I remember when bouillon was being created in Dominica, that they depended a lot on the traditional bele, lapokabwit, jingping types of music. And if that was not there, had that died, maybe they would not have got that kind of inspiration. But the fact that those traditions were still alive and vibrant the modern musicians now could tap into that reservoir of heritage in Dominica and come up with something new and something beautiful. So the two of them go hand in hand. They're not fighting with one another. They simply complement one another to make a country beautiful with its culture and with its heritage. And the same thing has to apply to Carnival, that while we have our modern, there will always be modern, creative, innovative ideas and expressions. But along with that, we need to also remember to include and promote the beautiful traditional aspects of our culture.
Lawrence further stated that Dominica's Carnival should be a breathtaking event. And also in the news, Chief Executive Officer of the Discover Dominica Authority, Colin Piper, has announced that only one prize will be up for grabs at this year's Carnival celebrations. The Chief Executive Officer made these remarks during his welcome address at the official launch of Mas Dominic 2018.
So our festivals and Carnival in this case have a very important part to play in our nation's rebuilding efforts. It is allowing room for our creative genius to be showcased. And with that in mind, DDA is considering that the only prize for Carnival 2018 will be the most creative band. And that one trophy each will be given to the adjudged band in the costume and traditional mass categories.
Piper went on to thank in advance all the participants of Dominica's Carnival Mas Dominic 2018.
Without the revelers, there would be no spectacle to watch. There would not be the colorful and vibrant sights, nor melodious sounds of our cultural heritage to use as marketing and promotional tools to attract visitors to our shores. So I want to thank those that will be participating in t-shirt bands, costume bands, calypso competitions, and the traditional masqueraders. We look forward to seeing your creativity in costumes for the Carnival.
The chosen theme of Mas Dominic 2018 is celebrating our tradition and will be celebrated on the 12th and 13th of February. And since the passing of Hurricane Maria on September 18th, 2017, quite a number of Dominica's annual activities had to be postponed to allow the country to commence its rebuilding process. Events such as the World Creole Music Festival and Creole in the Park were both postponed for 2017. Dominica's Carnival celebrations were also one of the most talked about events, whether it should or should not take place post-Maria. Project Officer in the Division of Culture, Gregory Rabes, indicated to CBN4 that the Carnival is needed more now so than ever.
Well, my view is that in your Powell Creole, there's a Creole expression that says, "Yon bateau coule pa ka empêcher un lot naviguer," meaning a boat that sinks doesn't prevent the other one from sailing. At the same time, we can't lie down and play dead. We have to pick up our tools or whatever it is and rebuild the country. We need the Carnival at this time, more so than ever, because there's a lot of trauma, a lot of stress, and people need to unwind, people need to, as we say, free up. In any event, Carnival is part of our tradition. When we talk about building back the economy of the country, we have to recover as fast as we can in Dominica, in all aspects of the economy, and culture, and Carnival, and the tourist sector all play an important part in the recovery effort. So Carnival is very important because it brings in revenue, foreign exchange to the country. So we've got to have our Carnival. I agree that we have to limit the hours because of the current situation, electricity and all of that, security and so on, which is quite fine. But in the circumstances, we just have to give it a best shot. It's a tradition, it's real, entrenched in our tradition. We've got to keep the Carnival going.
Dominica's 2018 Carnival Mas Dominic was launched on Friday. And that takes us to the end of the Primetime News package. If you've missed any of our stories, you can catch up on CBN4.com or visit our Facebook page. Until our next broadcast, I am your presenter, Arlen Christopher saying thank you for watching.